minutes are just passing by, and it's like kind of terrifying. And there was a Canadian guy who was also in our apartment complex who had been brought over, and the whole time I'm like making eyes at him in his booth, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's looking at me like, I don't know, because he didn't know what was going on either. But they drank those drinks. More drinks were ordered as soon as they were finished, and eventually we just got a little bit looser, mainly by talking about Disney movies. And then after about an hour, they left, and then like TJ's all, okay, here's the deal, you're getting paid.
The bar was actually what was called a kabakura, or cabaret club. Most kabakura are effectively hostess bars. They cater to Japanese men who pay to spend time with young Japanese women. But this was a special type of kabakura. It was for Japanese women who wanted to spend time with young foreign men. Men like Gavin and TJ.
Yeah, in the business, what he did to me is called catching. And if you're going to be a catcher, when people start getting off of work, you stand at the corner of a train station or something, and these are the crazy dudes with the Final Fantasy VII haircuts, and they're all just like, Oi, Beppin-san, oide, hey girl, come on over here, and they're like catcalling, and you think, oh, they're just trying to get a date, and it's like, no, they're trying to either talk that girl into come to a host bar so they can get paid, or they're trying to talk that girl into become a hostess herself so she can get paid. So I guess that's just what happened to me. And so at the end of the night, TJ whips out a little calculator on his iPad and hands over $350. And he's like, how would you like to continue to be a host here? And I'd never worked in the service industry, really. I mean, like, I think the closest I came was I worked at Noah's Bagels when I was a teenager or something. And so at the time, I thought, what is the appeal for these girls to, like, talk to me? Why do this weird, I don't know, masquerade of fake romance, just for an hour, for a rental, like a boyfriend rental. I didn't understand that at all. But at the same time, I needed the money to eat, to stay there at least until April, to figure something out. And so eventually I started working 2 to 3 days a week at this kabakura. A typical night at a kabakura, I would be the bar back, and I'd serve people drinks until someone would come in and look at my picture and then tell the dude at the door, all right, I want to sit down and I want to talk to this guy. And you greet them at the door, give them a big old hug. They love that because, like, normally people are just like, hey, a little head nod. That's all you get. And then you sit down at your booth, you cozy on up to them. I would pop out my 5-star cigarettes or something like that, and I'd tap it out, put one in my mouth, and I put that on the table with my lighter that was like a Kumamon lighter. And it ended up being like a little advertisement for the cigarettes in the bar. And then we just start talking. It's lighthearted, sort of flirting. It's, oh, have you seen that movie? Did you think that guy's butt was cool? It was very cute. And then you're like, well, what are you doing later this week? You want to go? And you kind of tease them about like going out sometime.
Gavin's regular customers, the ones who really liked him, were called email clients. That's because he would give them a kind of secondary email, so they could text him at any time. But more to the point, he could text them.
And you just talk up your clients throughout the week. And you just be like, what are you doing right now, girl? And they're just like, oh, I'm at work. You're like, am I going to see you tonight? And then the more you do that, then you can get your picture on a wall, and you can have a little nickname for yourself. So I went by Kyoshin, which is like teacher or teach.
What was your rate?
An hour with me would cost $300 to $500 to $600. So as soon as they sat down, there was always a running clock. And your job is to make them forget this is paid by the hour.
But although Gavin's time was valuable, he really wasn't. He only saw a small fraction of that money. So he had to work 2 other jobs just to make ends meet. Plus, maintaining that willing suspension of disbelief with the clients, that really took its toll. For example, he couldn't just be Gavin. He had to be Gavin the American. Which is to say he had to be a cartoon version of what an American is like.
Oh my God, I hated singing Disney karaoke. I had to do that so much. You say things like dude a lot. They think that's very funny. You say, oh my God, and they really love it. And then you drink and you drink and you drink. That is the number one thing that you do. And it'd be rude if I didn't drink what they were drinking, which was usually white wine, which, man, oh man, like it was just some trash. But if you're, running a few tables in a row, you are drinking 15 drinks in 3 hours. And so you're like, hold on for a second. You flip a stopwatch setting on the tablet and you just go to the bathroom and vomit it all up. And then you psych yourself up again.